financial management in Pakistan. Anyone else got anything they want to add to that? Yes, there were donor insecurities. And what happened was that in spring of 2009, USAID started a regular audit of projects in, well, it started off as an audit, turned into an investigation. And by December last year, they issued a press release by the OIG of USAID to say that they were suspending AED from receiving any more awards. They used really, really strong words. Talked about corporate misconduct, mismanagement, lack of internal controls. I don't know about you, but as an accountant, that kind of really slightly scares me. And it caused termination of court for cause in Pakistan. It moved into procurement issues in Afghanistan, and they ended up having to pay back money to the US government. AED's board went on to implement a whole number of changes, but it was too late, and by February this year they announced that they were looking for someone to acquire them. And we talked about, Carl and Peter said to OFOG earlier today, the sad demise of a strong organisation that's been around for 50 years doing work that's similar to us, with issues that are similar to ours. So we all have a reason to be scared. I'm not here to get us all depressed and worried, but we all have a reason to be concerned. A lot of these events, a lot of this was around procurement issues and documentation issues, and were people reviewing things in the right way, and were people responding to things in the right way, and what happens when there's a fraud, and are we reporting to the right people? Those are all questions that the people that we work with in the field face every day, and that we face as finance people, as procurement people. So it could happen here, and it could happen here because our donors, not just USAID, but all of our donors, worry about this. We've got USAID focusing on a culture of compliance. We have Global Fund who talk about zero tolerance for corruption. Who read the articles in the press in January about the Global Fund? Did anyone hear about that? I mean, this is stuff that obviously we all, none of us want this to happen in our organizations, and our donors are very focused on it. So it's a reminder. Events that happened in a couple of countries brought down an entire organization. But we're not AED, it doesn't have to happen, but we need to make sure we understand what could happen. It's a reminder that what happens in one country can influence us all. It's not good just to say, well, I'm in here in Washington, doesn't matter if it happens in Afghanistan, Pakistan, doesn't matter if it happens in Zambia or in South Africa. We need to make sure that we have processes and controls in place that work. We need to make sure that we have a process for responding to these situations when they happen. Fraud happens at PSI. It's a fact. The countries that we operate in, the environments in which we operate in, we have these situations happen. But the important thing is that we need to all make sure that we know what we need to do if we come across a situation that raises a concern to us. It's also, AED is a reminder of just how seriously our donors take this. Unfortunately, it seems to be every industry, every organization, every way that money can move around the world, there is an example like this. For those of us that have worked outside of the NGO world, we've probably seen our competitors or even the organizations that we've worked for in the past go through a similar crisis. It happens. We can use this as just a reminder. This is what we want to prevent happening to us. But it's also, we've got to look at the environment in which we're operating in. We may face down a shutdown of the US government tomorrow. They're worried about money. They're worried about how we spend money. Compliance and management of funds is critical at the moment. But there is good news. We were already thinking about these risks. We didn't wait for AED to happen to think, oh, we probably ought to get something together. And there are competitors of ours right now that are running around still trying to address these issues and figuring out how they're going to respond. We're several months ahead of them, and we should be grateful for that. But that doesn't mean that we can sit back and go, okay, we're fine. We've all got a responsibility. So, who is familiar with the Code of Conduct that was issued in December? I'm taking that as not everyone has taken their ethics online course just yet, because when you have, you'll be really familiar with the Code of Conduct. We launched the online course a few weeks ago. This is a nice reminder. Make sure you take it in the next month before you get on a list of people that haven't taken it.
And it's not that long, right? 45 minutes, hour?
45 minutes, lots of interaction, things to keep you interested.
Consider this capacity building. Okay?
We also formalized PSI's suspected fraud reporting policy and procedures. For those of you that aren't aware, that has gone out to all of the directors and the CRs, and you can find it on KICS on the OFOG page. You can read as much of it as you want, but we've got it summarized as a couple of pages as to what you need to do and a couple of flowcharts if you prefer pictures to words. So I would recommend that you have a look at that. I've been saying this for weeks, but we are about to relaunch Ethics Point. Who has heard of Ethics Point? Who wants to describe what Ethics Point is? It's not me.
It's a place where you